creative. How are you networking in the new virtual networking room environment? We are all being called on to spend more and more time in front of our computer, in front of our webcams, and trying to build connections and community in an online world. How are you doing that? And how can you be more effective at using your time and energy that you invest in an online world more effectively to make a bigger difference, to grow bigger and better relationships, and to really use your time effectively? I'm McKay. This is Coaching for Creatives, a weekly live broadcast that happens in my Facebook group. As the founder of Business of Creativity, I'm committed to bringing you, the creative services freelancer, education, training, support, and resources so that you can live your dream of making a living and having a life doing work that you love. Most of us had the experience of networking in the before time when we could do face-to-face. We had techniques and tips and ideas and ways that we could interact in a networking room. We could read body language. We could have all these sort of side conversations. We could see who was like an interesting person or energetically fun to look at or potentially connect with. And now we're in our little boxes, in our little squares. You're watching this either live or you're watching it on my YouTube channel, and I'm just this little head and shoulders talking person to you. I'm hardly even a whole and complete human being. When we don't get the full picture, how can we still build meaningful connections in a virtual world? So I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts, things and experiences, tips maybe that you've used in virtual networking that have been effective for you, or maybe you've seen some people do some really weird things online and we should totally avoid doing those things now and forevermore. I'm going to share with you a few of the things that I'm noticing are working really well. And the reason this topic is so near and dear to me is that I have just spent more than 30 hours in Zoom over the last 3 days or so. I have to tell you, unless you can figure out how to stay engaged and treat this space as if you were in a room with people, it can get really draining really fast. We've all heard of Zoom fatigue, and it is a real thing. One of the things that you can do is to really consider that your body language does get communicated on some level. Are you sitting up in your chair? Are you engaged in the conversation? Are you leaning into what's happening in that virtual space? Or are you detached? Are you sitting back? Are you just being an observer? Are you hugging the wall in this virtual space and not really engaging with people? People can see you even when you're not speaking or when it's not your turn. So being mindful of our level of engagement, our level of being present in that virtual room can really change how we're perceived when we're in that space. Most of the time, we're making our connection decisions based on, do we think that person is a good prospect? Potential referral partner, maybe they're just a cool person that you'd like to get to know. And you're making those decisions based on how those people are showing up in the room. And guess what? They're making their decisions based on how you're showing up in the room too. What can you do once you've maybe caught somebody's attention because they're noticing that you're engaged and you're energetic and you're participating? How can you make it easy for people to reach out and connect with you? I'm so excited about this because I have learned some really practical, tactical things that have made a huge difference in how I show up in a networking room and how effective networking has been in terms of getting new connections. And really, for me, that's the main focus, and the main goal and outcome is to build new relationships with new people, to to fill the top of my funnel, to behave and take action that's going to build traffic and awareness and get new people into my world so that I can get to know them and figure out whether or not they might be a good fit for my services. How can we make that easy for people in a networking room? So one of the ways that you can do that is, how does your name show up at the bottom of your picture? If you go on to the browser page for Zoom at zoom.us, you can change your settings there, and then those settings will show up every single time you sign into Zoom with that same login, regardless of what platform you're on. I know some people have set up Zoom on their iPad differently from their computer, for instance. I recommend that you go to the actual browser, to zoom.us, and you set up your profile and your account to make it easy for people to connect with you. The first decision you're going to want to make is, so which social media platform would you like to use for people to connect with you? And maybe it's different from one room to the next, in which case you can always, whenever you're in a room, rename yourself to something more appropriate to the mood and environment and audience in that room. But for the most part, I recommend that you pick one social media platform that's going to be your connection hub of choice. For instance, if you want to connect on LinkedIn, you would change your name, your profile name in your account to say Aura McKay connect on LI. So I have my full name and I have where I want them to connect with me. If you would prefer that people connect with you on Instagram, you might just put your name and then your @ handle on Instagram, and then you would put on IG, so they know that the @ handle that you're giving them is in fact an Instagram @ handle and not a Twitter @ handle or anything else like that. You can set up your actual name to help people who want to connect with you do so way more easily. You can also use your name and then your business name, especially if your business name is different than your first or last name. Making it easy for people to find you without having to reach out in the chat or direct message you, just being able to have that available. The other thing is that sometimes we're not able to use video. If we're not able to use video, make sure you have a profile picture on your account. I recommend using an actual picture of you, even if you have the most fabulous brand and logo. Your picture is who they're seeing in the Zoom room or in the virtual networking room. You are the person that they're wanting to make an actual connection and build a relationship with you. Eventually, they can build a relationship with your brand, but I recommend that your Zoom room profile picture, or whatever media or platform you're using for virtual networking, that your profile picture match what you actually look like when you show up in that Zoom room. Again, making it easy for people to recognize you, to find you, to be able to connect with you as a human being and build a relationship with you. The last thing that I'll say about how you show up in your body language, engaged with your room setup, etc., is if you have a background that is not on brand, or maybe you're just a little bit more private and you don't want the whole world to get invited into your living room or into the space where you happen to be when you're attending that virtual networking meeting. The best virtual background that's the least distracting without a green screen is the video background that has the blur with it. It's specifically in Zoom, if you go down to the bottom, you're going to see your video icon. There's a little up arrow there. You can click that. You can see video settings. You go to backgrounds and filters. You can choose blur. And what that will do is it will blur out your whole background and keep the focus and intention on who you are without maybe the distraction of your background. My background is pretty much on brand. It does serve to give more information about who I am and my personality. So I choose to show that because it might give someone else an in for reaching out to me. And that's where I'm going to go next in this conversation is, If you see somebody whose energy you like, who's engaged, who's maybe offering up comments, who you think, I really want to connect with them and get to know them better, how do you reach out in virtual networking room without being pushy or salesy or inauthentic or any of those things? First of all, I recommend that you only reach out and connect with people that you really want to have a connection with. Second, see if there's something in their background behind them, or maybe something that they said or shared that you can comment on and invite them to connect, to talk about that further. Hey, I see you have lots of photography awards in your background. Were you a photographer? I'd love to talk to you more about how that journey was for you. So now you're reaching out and you're talking about something that's already important to the person. Or I noticed that you made this comment and I really appreciated your insight on that. I would love to connect with you more and learn more about you and what you do. So reaching out to ask to learn more is a great tool as long as it's coming from a place of genuine curiosity and interest. The last tip that I'm going to share with you is that if you show up in that room and you offer resources and ideas and contributions and suggestions, people will be drawn to you and notice you in that room. Now, there's a caveat here. This isn't permission for you to be talking all about yourself or doing sales pitches or trying to take over the networking room. This is about you showing up in a genuine grounding of being of service and trying to offer suggestions and ideas. People like connecting with generous people. And there is this element of reciprocity that happens. When we give to others, they have a reciprocal need to give back to us. Sometimes they will give back in the form of connecting with us and giving an opportunity for us to build or grow a relationship. And networking is at the very top of our funnel. It's the place where we get to connect with strangers, people who don't know about us yet, and we get the opportunity to build the relationship of getting them to like us and trust us and potentially even hire us to do work with them. So those are my top networking tips for Zoom rooms and virtual networking in today's economy and our new way of interacting with each other. And gang, I think even when we do go back to in-person, that we're still going to see a lot of value in virtual networking. My own network has expanded globally. I get to talk to people in all different kinds of countries who are in a similar business or who are prospects or clients. And even in our monthly Real Talk pop-up masterminds, we just had one the other day, and there were people from all across Canada, from Toronto, from Montreal, from Vancouver, from Victoria. So we're starting to see that we are participating in a global economy, even if our target market is local and specific to our neighborhood. We still can give value from participating in virtual networking and participating in a way that's engaged and energetic and intentional about building those connections and those possibilities for networking. If you would like to connect with me, I love to be connected on LinkedIn. It's Aura McKay on LinkedIn. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, please do subscribe. We produce new content weekly, and we are doing our best to reach our subscriber goals of 100 subscribers by the end of May. So help us out, help us reach our goals, and we will see you here next week on Coaching for Creatives Live. I'm Aura McKay, the founder of Business of Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week.